nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. 2, we will call to order the September 4th, 2025 Village Board meeting. Roll call shows all trustees present except for Jim, who has been excused. Staff is all present, and Attorney Ashley is present. 4, agenda changes. Are there any? Okay. 5, consent agenda. A, August 21st, 2025 regular board meeting minutes. B, licenses and permits as presented. C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. If there are no questions, I would need a motion to accept.
I just have one little thing on the minutes.
Okay.
After the trustees, after my name, you've got a parentheses arrived and a blank. At least that's what came through on my copy.
Oh, no.
Did that come through?
Yeah. Oh.
No,
You were
right
here on time,
Right
though.
there.
Oh, okay.
I
Right.
know it's not a big deal, but it looks,
You were here on time.
yeah.
That was, yeah. Thank you. I will fix that.
I would need a motion with the correction.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda with the correction.
I'll second.
Roll call, Carrie.
Aye.
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 Aye. Abstain on the August 21st, 25 board meeting minutes, but aye on the licenses, permits, and presentation of accounts.
All right, motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. Are there any?
Yes, we have Claire Abbott, 326 North Polk Street.
Hi, I'm just here to comment on the Memorial Square Park design. I guess I was lightly following it in the past year, but after seeing some more of it at the last meeting, I felt like the design could be stronger, and I think the cost, the $300,000 plus cost is not well spent on a design, the current design, I guess. I wish there could be some kind of solution that would maybe refurb what we have or do it later. I just feel like it's not, I don't feel good about it moving forward in its current form as a neighbor. I think we could do something with what we have. You know, I have a design background, and I saw what we did, what we have now go in, and had reservations about that, and I acknowledge it's not the best, but I don't wanna do another mediocre park that costs a ton of money, basically, so, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Judy Peterson, 104 North Lake Shore.
I'm also with same thing, that park there. I think it's a little outrageous, the amount of money you guys wanna spend on that. My problem with that is the back parking lot behind Otter Creek. I paid to get that paved 7 years ago, whatever it was, and was told after they fixed a few things down there that they were gonna come in and pave the rest of it. And that's been 7 years ago, and that money could be used for that. You know, there's a lot of public area back there. My area is paved, but all that stone back there, they put in a load of stone a couple of years ago, and that's just all washed away because of the rain back there, and it goes into the creek. I think if that was paved down there, that would help a lot of that erosion down there. And then they came in and cut down a bunch of trees through there and just left them lay there. Like, I don't know if we're supposed to be responsible for picking that stuff up, but that's all along the river, that's public land. But I was told years ago that that would be taken care of back there. It's, you know, that's not gonna cost $300,000 to fix that parking lot back there. So that's where my concern is you're gonna work on a park that's only been there for 10 years, and now you're gonna spend all that money to redo it. So that's I'd like the parking lot done behind Otter Creek.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No.
Okay. 7, committee reports. There are none. 8, unfinished business from previous meetings. There's none. 9, new business, A, discussion and possible action on Halloween proclamation. And the proclamation is, I, Jeannie Belisle, village president, hereby proclaim Sunday, October 26th, 2025, between the hours of 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. as the official time for Halloween trick-or-treating in the village of Hortonville. And I would need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the Halloween proclamation for 2025.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. B, discussion and possible action on columbarium contract for design services.
So this is basically the only way to, we're gonna have to go out for bid for this. Normally this is something that Mathewson doesn't charge you for, but the problem is for us as a public entity, we have to go out if we ended up wanting to put in a columbarium site. Due to the price, we'd have to go out and get bids for it. So because of that, I asked them to procure us a contract that we would pay for, that they would feel comfortable with their time for the design, if they didn't receive the contract after the bidding comes back. So realistically, I think it's a decent, I mean, it's $2,300. It's fairly cheap for a layout design, I guess, for a columbarium. For those that don't know what a columbarium is, it's almost like, my best way to describe it is multifamily for dead people. It's a large vault that has about like 42 niches on each side that you can put in ashes. They look a lot nicer. You put usually concrete around it, maybe some seating.
There's one up at the St. Peter and Paul Cemetery if somebody wants to look at what they look like.
Right, yep. So, the idea was, for us, we have a limited amount of space. There's a certain amount of vaults that we have. Because we have this site that we're gonna have to take care of in perpetuity because it was given to us, we're pretty much stuck. So, we have a limited amount that we can sell right now with the, if we do graves and put a lot more people in these. And we need to make sure we have enough in our reserve funds basically to generate enough interest annually to pay for the maintenance, keep up on that. Otherwise, we're gonna be dipping into taxpayer money every year to pay for maintenance on the cemetery in perpetuity. So, the idea is you can fit a few more people in, we can get more of those perpetual care fees that are at 500 right now. That's more that's going into that, basically reserve fund that we have invested right now. So, that's kind of the idea around this. They're gonna create a design for us. At that point, we can take a look at how many units the design has, the estimated cost, and then propose it to you guys if it makes sense to go forward or if it doesn't. So that's kind of the idea behind it all.
So I have a question. You were saying that normally they don't charge for the design fee, right? So if this is a $2,300 design fee, is that then going to be credited towards the project, or is that we're paying extra because we're a public entity and we have to go out for bid?
It's hard to say. I couldn't tell you either way. Basically, it's probably an additional fee that we're gonna probably end up paying. I don't think they're gonna take the money off on the backside. It's just something that we have to do because we have no other way to get it designed unless I'm manually doing it myself.
All right, and then if we're going out for bids, is this like an RFP where anybody could submit?
Yep.
Type of thing? Do we anticipate other monument places to be submitted?
I would highly doubt it.
Okay.
I think we're gonna get one person and it's gonna be them. And
Yeah.
it's just, unfortunately, it's just kinda how we have to do it. We couldn't really find many municipalities other than a few in the state that had it. And I think the one that we did find, that's kinda how they did it. A lot of these are done at private,
Yeah.
cemeteries. There's, like you said, there's one in St. Peter, St. Paul, there's a few in Appleton, so they're all over now, but
It's not publicly owned.
No. It
Did
just-
we test for ledge rock?
yes. So we already
Is
did.
that where we would be putting it then, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do graves?
Right, so, well, partially, yes. We did soil testing and ledge rock testing, so, basically those were given to them so that they can use that to design their stuff around of what we would need to do.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the plan. is to-
Yeah, because otherwise it's wasted space,
Right.
so, yeah. And I have received calls, and I routed them to the office, cause people did ask me about it.
Yep.
And I said we didn't have one, we were talking about maybe doing it, so,
It's been on the back burner for a while.
yeah.
But yeah, I got a few calls from the people you pushed over and kind of made me reach out to Matheson to see if, because before they were like, well, we don't really know if we wanna do a design at all without having the contract, and that's kinda why I just said to them, well, give us a number that would work for you guys to do the design. So,
Any other questions? Otherwise, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for a columbarium design service with Matthews and Monuments not to exceed $2,300.
I'll second.
Roll call, Carrie?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. C, discussion and possible action on Alonzo Park Shelter Design Contract.
so Aaron and I met out at Alonzo Park with this architecture firm, Thrive. They're actually doing one currently for a design for the is it HYS or is it actually?
Booster Club, I think.
The Booster Club, okay, commercial club, for their fields. And we had them come take a look at Alonzo Park. We have potentially some donors that wanted to donate a fairly large sum of money towards a pavilion type structure that has a kitchen. And so we were trying to see what makes sense to do with the current bathrooms we have, the current structure we have there. Is there any way we could try to repurpose some of the stuff? And basically had her kind of look at it, give us some advice on what she was thinking. So the idea would be to kind of utilize some of the concrete areas that are currently there, but she was gonna come up with a few different designs, and at least get proposals out and get estimates so that we know what we could say to the potential donors, to see where they're at with the donor and see how much more we would have to help fund, cause I think while it's a large sum, it's probably not gonna cover 100%, but I think potentially at least 50% of the cost, based on some of the talks we had with the consultant, so, and then it's just trying to make those decisions, but, yeah.
So they'll be able to provide us with a couple of different conceptuals and see how it works in that space.
What kind of timeline are we thinking?
I don't know. I think everything right now is like, we have backed up projects that are sitting there just waiting because of the fact that we don't know, we're waiting still on the county for the numbers. We have the general numbers, we don't know how they're applying the state's funds for Main Street, and we don't know their split and our split. I'm still waiting on those. Their deadline was to give it to me tomorrow. We'll see if they get it to me then. That'll be a lot easier for me to kind of see like financially where we're gonna be at, and whether or not, in the next year or two is kind of what I think is gonna happen. I think it'd probably be throughout the next year, the design portion would be. I don't think we're trying to rush it necessarily, but I think somewhat sooner than later.
And maybe I'm missing it, but in this contract, is there like a dollar amount that the anticipated amount? I mean, I see there is the architectural services, 3D rendering, and then there's a whole list of what the hourly rates, but is there an estimated, like, how much? Maybe I'm just missing it, but I don't see, so like if we were to make a motion, what are we giving the authorization up to a certain dollar amount?
Yeah, so the architectural services would be that 3,000.
So it's the
And then
4,500.
3D renderings would be about 1,500.
And the hourly rate is built into those two items.
Yeah, I think the hourly rate is basically what you go off of, and then it's not to exceed
Okay.
those amounts.
questions? We would need a motion.
So what you're saying is the motion would be 4,500, that how I
Yeah.
understood it?
So we're gonna say yes, cause I know a couple meetings ago, there's a 3D rendering that we didn't want. But we're gonna say yes to this one, or we want this one for this park? Or we just wanna get the, can we do the design, the architect, the design first and then go back, or, I mean,
She did say the 3D rendering is optional. I think
I'm
I
just
think
questioning
it's-
cause I know we
right.
turned them down in
I
the
think
past.
it's beneficial for a few different reasons in that area. I think, because you have this splash pad there, currently it's all open by the current,
Oh,
structure.
I think it's
And I think-
necessary, I think it's a great thing too, I just wanna make
Right.
sure, I know we've said no to it before.
Yeah, I think, would you need it necessarily? No. I think it's beneficial though when you're looking at trying to make sure that, I guess, line of sight is kind of something that we were talking about,
Yep.
internally is you don't wanna block off the vision
Nope.
to the splash pad, and you want the seating to kind of still have vision to the splash pad and playground, and, I think, do you necessarily need it? No, but I think it's a good thing to have in this case.
I agree, cause I think
Right.
it would be beneficial on a lot of the stuff that, the projects that get brought up, is to have something physical to look at versus a drawing, so I was just
Right.
curious, cause I know we've turned them down before, so I wanna make sure everybody was aware that was part of it. I personally like them, I think it helps, but
What would happen if we had to wait until we got a little more firm idea of what we were gonna receive for the actual grant, I guess you said?
Is a donation.
Donation.
I mean,
Not so much that, excuse me, what the original splash pad and things were. I thought you said there was some, we're not sure as to the total funding that was gonna come in.
It's basically, the timeline is all kind of based on the county and how much money.
yeah, that's for
and-
more Main Street stuff. I think there is still the stuff in the air too. We did get the signed contract from the state for the additional funds for Alonzo Park, for the playground, or not the playground, sorry, the parking lot and the intersection, updates and entrance. Still working with the county on that, trying to figure out if their timeline would work with the intersection stuff. McMahon's working on a few different things to try to get out for bid. So there's that project that obviously is gonna take precedence over this, but after that, there are calls in our TID 6 for some of the shelter. So that also could probably go into some of that, depending on where we're at financially in TID 6. But a lot of that stuff is all dependent on those prior years, or on the projects that take precedence over this one, like Main Street mostly.
I don't think this one would be eligible for the grant funding. Like,
Oh, at this point, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know, did that answer your question?
Somewhat, I guess,
Okay.
I'd just like to see a little more solid numbers here before we decide to continue on with the park itself, when we don't know what we've got coming in at the backside yet. I'm just wondering what it would take if we just put this off for a while.
I mean, it might not take much. I guess my only concern would be that the donors wanna leave or try to find somewhere else.
Got it.
I think that's the only thing where if you start moving the process along, I think it's a good sign. We could always work with them and see if they would help pay for some of the engineering.
So I have another question here, you're done, Bob, with the,
No, I'm good.
with that question, okay. So I know that when we originally looked at the whole picture of Alonzo,
Right.
there was like phase 1, phase 2, this phase, and I do remember kind of correlated with this whole kitchen pavilion and everything was a potential structure amphitheater for way in the future.
Right.
Is that, I mean, I guess my question is I would hate to to design this and pay for the engineering and all the design and all that, if we didn't still have that on like the back burner. So this will be designed around the fact that it's expandable, or is that just gonna be another whole?
So I think the biggest problem with that master plan was there was no
The wetlands.
wetlands
Wetlands,
delineated
okay.
at the time.
And that was where the amphitheater was, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a possibility you could build an amphitheater towards the front of the property, but then your residents would all be in wetlands, and so if it's not like a super dry season,
Yeah.
it's right where the circus was wet this year. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was squishy.
So do we have anything that is going to be built off of this? I guess maybe that's the better question. Is there any future plan, like if we did go ahead with this, or whether we pause it for a little bit, if we're gonna pay for this, do we also look to see what's the next step? And then even though that might not be structurally built initially, we can have this on the ready, so that when we do go to build it, we only pay for the design once.
Yeah.
And they're planning the design around that being.
I don't know
Well-
what that would be. I guess because the idea would be to have it bathrooms and then like a 10-foot warming or 12-foot warming kitchen by 26, and then extending out from there, you'd have a roof, seating, and then a little bit of outside seating outside the roof.
But we don't have anything more that was, I just remember amphitheater, I'm trying to think what else we had that was like.
We had a pavilion. There was
Some sort of path,
there was a few
Like a-
different pathways.
yeah, like
That's all.
for skating or whatever, like the one
Yeah,
that was
and the
three.
skating rink was something we were in the process of looking at, and that was also near the wetlands area that we tried, and that kind of.
Just trying to get more of a bang for the buck type of thing, like if you're gonna do the design with
No, I
the
hear what you're
future.
saying. I just don't know what that would look like or what
Okay.
that would be. I think part of because the only other thing is storage, and that was also something we discussed with her, and she thought you could take the current bathrooms and gut it pretty easily, and just make that into your public works storage for down there for the different items that. But I guess I don't know what else, unless you're talking expanding the kitchen to be larger, but then you start talking multi-million-dollar projects.
I think she's looking at, do we come back and look at the park plan
Mhm.
again and relook at the design around what we know now? We can't
Right.
really do much with this area, and then start thinking about what do we want absolutely to be in this park, and say, okay, now we have to kind of rework it around what is the playground, what is the splash pad, so that we aren't pigeonholing ourselves and making it so that we are stuck with this.
And then paying
Yep.
an engineer
So
again.
one
if
thing
we
we
need
could-
to-
Design it around that.
One thing you could do is we could push this back down, we could push this aside for now and sit, 2 weeks or whatever, and try to do a park committee and kind of go through that. I think that'd be more appropriate in that setting to kind of look at the park plan, talk about it, say what isn't gonna work that's in there right now.
I think we have to look at what we've looked
Right.
at and kind of said, okay, this is what we're working on, this is our design that we have. That's kind of what we base the playground on now, the
Right.
splash pad, everything, and kind of the decisions we're making about the structure, and say, okay, let's relook at this, okay, this is nixed because we can't do anything with this section. With what we've got left, what do we need to fit in, and how do we organize it, so that
It's a fair point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, so we're not saying, okay, now we're gonna put another structure in there permanently, and now what can we fit in what's left of the grass, you know, like,
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good idea, actually, if we wanted to get a park committee together to kind
I
of.
think we just need to relook at
Yeah.
what we did before and see what we have to.
If you guys wanted to table this for a future meeting for the contract, we could do that.
I would, and I,
Basically, public
yeah, and,
facility.
yeah, and, yeah,
Public
public
facilities
facility.
meeting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I,
that's what I meant.
and I would probably tell the donor, I mean, I assume that they're pushing for this to be the item that they're donating towards. I would just say, hey, we're just looking at, you
And I
know,
think they're fine with that.
just say we wanna make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck and we're getting everything that we want in the park. Cause it's a spectacular park, let's keep making it great, but let's not
Let's just tap the brakes.
keep
and
shoving
then-
stuff in there and then try to figure out how to fit
No, I
what's
agree.
next.
I'm sure the engineer would appreciate it too, knowing the bigger picture
How much
versus,
space they have to work with and.
so if that's something, if we could just make a motion to defer this.
Yeah, you could make a motion to table it for a future agenda.
Okay, I will make a motion to table the Alonzo Park shelter design contract for a future meeting,
I'll
pending,
second.
pending a public facilities meeting.
I'll second.
And, okay, so I was just gonna say who was on the, public facilities committee, so that we could maybe set something up too. So it's Julie, Shauna, Jane, and Carrie. So, okay, so we had a motion and a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll go to D, discussion and possible action on Eller's contract for TID 7 creation.
So this is, for Ellers to set up a TID 7, for us. I'm working right now on the properties that would be considered in this TID. Ideally, the goal of this TID is, part of it is gonna be for, future development, with Nature's Haven. Nature's Haven's, subdivision from, obviously I've talked with you guys about it a lot, from early 2006 that kind of, fell apart. The owner is working to sell it right now with a few different developers. The issue is the wetlands in it, and the current design isn't gonna work, so they all have to go back to the board and try to redesign it around those a little more, cause in 2006, the restrictions on wetlands were a little different than they are nowadays. They're a lot more restrictive now, so, they're gonna have to amend some stuff in there. In order to make it function financially for them, they need it to be a TID, so part of that is doing this. The other thing is we can expand this TID out, kind of grab, the initial thought is to go a little more north, grab in, Otter Creek, or Black Otter, the old mill, kind of snake through there, grab, the EAP property, there was one property, how to describe it, on Dewey Street with a bunch of storage units that were aged, but very old, and they were decrepit, that we were gonna purchase at one point. To grab those up through the canning factory into the county garage area, kind of grab all that area. The idea is for a few different things, potentially updating that area of town, which I think is very dilapidated. We have that EAP or EPA site that needs to get cleaned up with the oil spill in it that we purchased to clean it. There's a few other areas over there that are just falling apart that this could potentially help with. The other thing is we're looking 10 years out too for future road reconstructions on Salt Mill, future road reconstructions on Dewey Street, Geezy, Wayne. So there's a few different larger road construction projects that this TID could help fund some of those projects in the future. So that's kind of what this is. This is a longer term TID. It's not like TID 3, 4, and 5, and 6 that are kind of really meant for that downtown Main Street reconstruction project. This is for that next time, so.
I'm gonna drill down on the question. Is this meant as a blight district where it's a receivership like 5 was?
It won't qualify unless over half of the properties, in acreage is in blight.
Okay.
It doesn't fit necessarily quite enough. There's a lot more residential land there.
So I'm gonna drive down even further, cause I remember, it fascinated me when we created all the different TIDs.
Great.
So this is all gonna fit into one big TID. Would it be beneficial if you're creating one to create 2 and to create a blight district and to create a non-blight district? Connected?
No.
No?
The problem is most of the funding you're gonna use for that blighted area is gonna come from that other area.
Okay.
And then we have to make sure our mixes are, not too much in new residential. We can't go above 35% of acreage in the new residential, and we have to keep that into consideration, so that's why we're kind of grabbing a larger amount to try to also get some of those areas. one of the other projects that's labeled in there that I have right now is potential purchase of the canning factory. It's not for sale, but in the future, if the guy wants to sell it, that usually there's some benefit that the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation has that can help with those type of brownfield sites to kind of fix up and alter into different types of developments, but.
Thank you. That, it answers. I
Yeah.
just was curious when I was reading the packet that if this is something what we were gonna do like what we did with the downtown.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the hard thing is, yeah, it's the splits of those
The
lands. Until the state changes their laws, which is something they've been talking about with, allowing for residential TIDs, that's not gonna,
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we would need a motion to accept or deny.
So again, I'm gonna ask the question about the dollar amount. Is that, so there's different monies listed in here. I'm looking at page,
18,000.
so the 18,000,
Page 6,
okay.
yeah.
Yep.
I
And
will,
that gets charged to the TID once
They
it's
get- yeah.
created.
I will make a motion, to accept the contract with Ellers for the creation of the TID 7.
Do you wanna do the dollar amount?
Oh, I'm sorry, in the amount of $18,000, here, yeah, sorry.
I'll second.
Roll call, Carrie?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 10, report of village officials. A, clerk treasurer, Jane.
My report was in the packet.
Any questions for Jane? Okay. B, director of public works, Aaron.
My report was in the packet. We did start the Fountain Court and John Street projects today. They were milled, and a little bit on, North Mill, and they will be, they're supposed to be repaved on Monday.
Any questions?
No issues, no surprises or anything when it
Nope,
came through?
nope, it actually turned out pretty well, so we'll see when they put the top coat back on.
Okay, we'll move to C, police chief, Brian.
Reports in the packets. Officer McCready stopped in today for orientation. Her first day with us is gonna be the 9th, and then she was selected also for the .5 SRO position. We'll start training in the school on the 17th. I think we'll do swearing in next board meeting, just because of scheduling. And then I don't know if you saw, but I know this has been talked about for years, the siren and these issues. I think we've hopefully resolved it long-term. Apparently a loose wire that connectivity back to the county above my head, but it seems to be resolved, so hopefully we're not hearing about that for a while.
Any questions for Brian? Okay, we'll go to D, library director, Ally.
I do not have a report this time.
Okay. E, attorney, Ashley. Okay. F, administrator, Nathan.
I had a report in the packet. Also, we did start doing budgeting, starting to look at what taxes do look like, what we're gonna try to do for, some of our other projects, in-house stuff. Hoping to kinda start the process in October, with the board. I might have something maybe at the second meeting in September. It'd just be smaller stuff here and there, but October is usually when we, go through and do more of our general fund and then the other funds and have everything set by the first week of December. So.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And perhaps, I just think of Judy's question with regards to that back parking lot. I know that there is some progress back there and there is some plans, but it just isn't happening quite yet. Is there anything timeline-wise, or is there anything you could share briefly that might address that concern?
Yeah, so timeline, the reason most of that parking lot gets pushed back in our timeline is more of, we wanted to do some work too in the river, or the stream restoration project. And it didn't make sense to fix everything and then bring machinery in that could
To do that.
damage it. So it's looking like 26, 27, probably 27 is the year that we're looking at for the back parking lot with urbanization, or not, stormwater.
And there's also the trail that's going back there, right?
Yeah, and that would most likely go in that year. The trail could also be pushed a little bit later in 28, because I mean, realistically, until the other end is done of Main Street, we don't necessarily have to have it in, but that's all being part of it's all being looked at for reconstruction.
The stream that may be more of an Aaron question, that is being worked on?
Yep, so we're working on initial draft designs right now, and then hope to go for, we can get a draft design together, we'll bring it to the board, and then we could start looking for grants, because there's a fair amount of grants out there that will help pay for a lot of that stuff, to kind of help with the cost of the project.
I knew you guys would know this, and I wanted to make sure Judy's questions got answered about that back area, because I knew there was stuff in the progress, thank you.
It's just hard right now because everything's kind of tied into Main Street first.
Yeah.
And once we get over that hump of getting those numbers, then we can start planning out everything.
Okay.
Any other questions for Nathan? Okay, G, building permit report, it is in the packet. H, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussions? Okay,
Now we just need to schedule a public facilities meeting, but I don't know when the appropriate time to do that is.
can you send out some dates or something that the room is available, and then the committee can maybe choose in the next week or so?
Yeah.
That we could get together for public facility?
Yeah.
Okay. 11, communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News. Aaron, do you wanna take this?
Sure. We had our annual meeting last Wednesday, and I thought it went really well. The budget was approved. Discussed some of the good things that have been going on with the lake and the Lake District, and especially got to thank a lot of the volunteers who put in a lot of hours on the lake this year, and just keeping moving forward with the projects that we have.
It was a good meeting. B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News. Jim is out tonight. C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News. There's none in the packet. D, Hortonville Civic Association. Jane?
I have nothing new.
And E, Senior Activities. Jane?
Our next meeting is September 11th at noon here.
Okay. And then 12, comments and suggestions from citizens present. Anything? Yes.
I just wanted to note, I looked up the last public facilities meeting was over 2 years ago. So the Memorial Square idea never passed through that committee for discussion, which would have also been a great opportunity to have, like, downtown business owners attend and provide feedback. So I just noted that. It's been a while.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay. 13, I would need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead. I will let you read this.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session under state statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
I will second that.
Roll call, Terry?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 14, we would need 5 minutes recess to clear the meeting room. Number 17, I would need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. It is 6:53.